I don't want to leave and go. This little piece of paradise, where life is so naive. I don't want to leave and go. My island blessed, Dominica blessed. I don't want to leave and go. This little piece of paradise, where life is so naive. I don't want to leave and go.
That's right, our island is blessed. Very, very blessed Dominica is.
Good evening to all. Good evening once again. Welcome to another program of health and healing. Information to enlighten you, to empower you, to relieve you from your pain and your stress. Welcome, one and all. I'm Deja. Alongside me, co-host, co-author, Dr. Lotte. Dr. Lotte, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Deja. How are you? And that's right, we are blessed. Dominica is blessed. We wanted to start with the song for this Natural Health and Healing Hour by This is Simba Orchestra. SIMBA Simba. We are blessed.
Dominica, what a beautiful island, Dominica. What we represent at this hour, we represent Dominica for the health aspect and the longevity aspect, most of all, the nature aspect. And we know that nature is the ultimate source of well-being. Nature is the ultimate source for longevity. Nature is the ultimate source for resilience. We have all heard of this term resilience, being a resilient people. We have been hearing this term very, very often by our leaders. We are here to validate and to expound on the resilient medicines that we have, the herbal kingdom, the medicine from the herbarium of Dominica. And tonight we are going to edify you, enlighten you, and most of all, empower you to be able to sustain your health and also to heal your body. This evening we are blessed to have the breath of life, and we need to acknowledge the giver of life and the maker of life, which is the Lord God Almighty, creator of heaven and earth.
Yes.
And he has blessed us with a wonderful assortment of medicinal herbs for the service of mankind. We have alluded to the fact that herbal medicine have been inscribed biblically for the service of mankind and for the healing of the body of mankind. So let's look at Dominica, sweet, beautiful Dominica. Let's look at our heritage. Let's just go back in the past and have memory and remember the wonderful experiences that we have, especially those that I would say in their 50s, 60s, growing up in Dominica, how lush and beautiful it was. Having the fresh water, having the abundance of fruits, having the rivers, the springs, the hot springs, the freshwater pools. And we know all this contributes to one's well-being because, as I said, nature is the ultimate source for health and well-being. So, Dominica, let's start exploring or go back to explore the wonders and the natural mystics, I would call it, that Dominica have to offer. The healing properties that comes from the soil, the healing properties that comes from the water, the healing properties that comes from the foods, the healing properties that comes from the herbs. Because we know the healing properties that we are speaking of is the nutrients, the minerals, the potassium, the calcium, the manganese, the iron, and a host of nutrients that our body crave for. We know that our island is blessed with the abundance of these minerals. And we are there to empower you, to give you the assurance that going back is the ultimate choice, the ultimate solution to rejuvenate your body from a cellular level. Because disease and sickness starts from a cellular level. So let's address it from a cellular level and not a passive level in the sense of suppressing your symptom. So let's look at a holistic level where we consider the entire body as one unit. So we are once again here to
Empower.
give you the guidance and a path that you can tread upon, and we ensure that it's a win-win in all what we have to dispense when it comes to foods and your medicine. So Dr. Lockhart, I turn the mic over to you.
Well, I'm happy that you started with this idea of empowerment of our community, because what I want us to touch on first, before anything else, is taking a look at most of what a lot of what you said, but taking a look at who we are, what we have, who are we as Dominican. We started with the song Dominica Blessed by Simba Orchestra, because I want to remind Dominicans and all those listening of how blessed we are, how lucky and favored we are to be here in this nature island and to have the resources, whether we're here or not, even to have access to the resources given to us by this nature island. So, what is it that we have? Who is it that we are as a people? And I wanted to talk with you first about this idea of community, because when I grew up, everything was about you. Where are you from? Me, I'm from La Pointe. Where are you from? I'm from Tisavan. Our community was such an integral part of who we are and how we saw ourselves and where we ended up, even sometimes. So I want us to take a bit of time to talk about what we've moved from, where we are in terms of community, what community does for us, especially if we can see ourselves as value in the community. Do we value the roles of people in our community, or are we looking for just names and titles and accolades, or do we value the different people and resources we have in our community? What's your thoughts about that? What When you think of herbal medicine, what is the role of the community? Who are we as a community in Dominica? How does herbal medicine fit into that mix? That's what I want to know. I would love you to tell us a little bit about how if you find that the people and various communities honor the knowledge, that herbal knowledge, because when I talk of community, I talk of the wealth of resources and knowledge that we have. So are we honoring that knowledge and that community base, that resource base that we have here? Because at the end of the day, we need to take a look at how we've moved away from what we knew and did as a community to where we are now. And the reason I bring that up is because, a lot of what I do here with you is research. And I just got some documents sent to me from actually a CARICOM research office group, have some stuff that they publish on non-communicable diseases. And what they sent to me was some data that showed that between 2002 and 2007, so up to 2010, these non-communicable diseases in the Caribbean was between 5.8% and moved to 31.9%. And actually, the increase was 185%. And what they attributed to that was a shift away from community life, a shift away from the traditional way of living. Yes, we grew in economic development, but with that, we also moved to eating more ice cream, eating more fast food. And as we moved, we saw a 185% increase in these diseases. And then, of course, the American Medical Journal of Medical Sciences backed that up, saying that across the Caribbean, 17.2% of people had diabetes between 2002 2010, and it just kept going up, 32% by 2020, and so forth and so forth. So the idea and the link to the community, the link to community living, was so profound in that paper that I really wanted to ask you about, how you found that tie to community impacting what herbal medicine can do. And then also I want to ask you about how medicine can help in different medicinal options. For example, if there's a trauma or emergency in the community, how does herbal medicine come into that? So when we're talking about community, I want you to tell me a little bit about what you find, what you found, and what herbal medicine can do for us.
It is looked upon as traditional knowledge, and we know in communities there were persons, they were known specifically for their traditional knowledge and their wisdom in the use of herbs and different applications. of herbs.
Yes, absolutely.
Around Dominica, I mean, we have many communities. We have Granby, we have St. Joseph, we have, you mentioned Petit Savan. We have these communities, and I can attest to you that if you go into these communities, you will find a few people with this tiki, this traditional knowledge. And this was part of the empowerment for an individual in a community, because it was looked upon the the more knowledge that you hold is the more respected you'll be in your community, especially when it comes to health and wellness. And I know, and I was fortunate to meet a few of these elderly people who served as herbalists or bush doctor, I would call it locally. I was privileged to meet a few, and as we are on this topic, it comes to me, and it's revealing to me that we need to acknowledge some of the persons that are actually the forerunners that have been preserving, this knowledge, this traditional knowledge, this herbal knowledge, this knowledge of healing
Absolutely.
from the plants. And it comes to me that just mentioning the names like Dennis Bellot,
Okay.
we know him as Elder Blows.
Blows, yes.
He produced what you call Blows bush teas. Growing up, it was a common advertisement. Blows peppermint tea. We have heard of Blows in our upbringing. Cyber true, he have left, and he also have gone with a lot of information and knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is what we're trying to preserve. Fortunately, as I said, I had the encounter with Elder Blows. You have persons like Ferdinand Charles, persons that serve the community. Ferdinand Charles, we know him better known as Disciple Caesar.
Disciple Caesar.
And I'm proud to say Disciple Caesar. I was under Disciple Caesar for a number of years before he passed.
Okay.
Okay. We can mention person like Mr. Simon George. And let me specify, Disciple Caesar was located in Loubier. So persons from Pont Michel, Loubier should be aware of Disciple Caesar.
Yes.
Persons like Dennis Bellot, Elder Blows, he was located in Bauer State. So people around that region would know who I'm speaking of. Okay. We have persons like Elder George, Mr. George from Grand Fond.
Okay.
He has passed away. And these are some of the people that I encountered, and they have, enlightened me with the information that I have to present today. And that actually was the empowerment in our community. The knowledge of healing, the knowledge of the use of plants. And actually, that's one of the biggest reasons that I chose to dedicate my entire being from cellular level to do this type of work, because I saw the erosion and the depletion of that fundamental knowledge in our communities. And I said, no, if our knowledge is eroding so rapidly and we're not being mindful of it, eventually we're going to lose it for good.
Yes, for sure.
So hence the reason I'm back on this journey to really seek the information, and most importantly get the validation of all these medicinal herbs that our grandparents used, because they was not exposed to science.
True.
And today we are exposed to science, but you know what? We are not carrying out the works that they have started. So we know in communities, one of the empowerment that these individuals had, the elders had, was the knowledge that they shared with those that was in need of the knowledge. When it comes to hypertension and diabetes, Doctor, I can mention to you, a lot of people are suffering from conditions like inflammation and swellings. You could say swelling in your ankles, swelling in your feet, and
yes, lots of different ailments.
And the information that the plants would bring forth to one that utilize the plants for such conditions. I mean, it is so amazing. It is so amazing. The application of one leaf of a plant. I mean, get this in a deeper essence. The application of one leaf of a plant can help to reduce your inflammation.
And that's proven, and that's scientifically proven. Absolutely, we know that.
It has been done.
But we have to get back to it.
Continue to do it. And I can mention a plant by the name of Gokosu. Gokosu, better known as comfrey.
Yes, comfrey.
Comfrey was one of those plants that you could use whenever you have swellings in your knees, in your ankles. So, comfrey, externally, you can use it as a poultice. A poultice is basically the maceration or crushing of the leaf of the plant or the root of the plant or the entire plant into a paste.
You crush into a paste.
You crush into a paste and you simply apply it on the affected area.
Okay.
And this is an application that deals with pain. There's natural analgesic properties within the plant. And of all, we had no ibuprofen, we had no diclofenac, we had no cocodamol, we had no naproxens, and the remedies worked.
Yes.
And it was effective in the times of old.
Okay.
And that actually, the result of that, it actually gives one in the community the status of being the healer.
The healer, yes.
That's why it is called, traditional healers.
Yes.
So this was the power that we once hold, and we once, nature as part of ours, handing down to us by our forefathers. And in this present time, we see a total reversal of this approach.
Very true. Because
so the dependency on nature, in communities was more predominant in those times.
Absolutely. So is comfrey that herb that recently I heard talk about comfrey used for bones? Is that same herb?
Definitely.
Bones and pain and repair in tissue?
Yes.
So tell them about that, please.
So I mentioned the leaf of the comfrey. Now the root of the comfrey is even more potent because the root of the plant contains all the nutrients of the plants. So we know the comfrey. It is so amazing that it is said that comfrey can mend back bones together. So if you get a broken bone and you apply the comfrey directly towards that area, in a few months, normally it would take you within 9 to 12 months, based on the severity of the bone, the breaking of the bone. But comfrey can actually mend bones back together, and it has been proven over and over and over. So we can attest to you. I mean, scientifically validating comfrey. Information is there about comfrey, and as you know, right now we are exposed to the internet, and the information is right on our fingertips. So it is no longer folklore or some traditional knowledge.
Absolutely. And even the WHO has already taken steps to make sure that we move to that wheel. And I want to talk about that. But I digress to say that maybe that's why Gmo used to rub me with comfrey, because I mentioned my accident in a previous session here, and I remember the lady in the village Point Michelle who used to come rub me. Everybody know her, Gmo. I remember specifically and clearly that she used to use comfrey. That she used to have a thing to rub me, because as I said before, is the herbal and traditional medicine that helped me to recover. When I went abroad, there was nothing more they did. All I did was the surgery to put the plate in my head, but everything that got me to being able to move and do everything was done in Dominica, in the hot water under the church in prayer, and at home with Gmo and Rudolph, who used to rub me. And comfrey and Gwifsha were the two things I remember specifically they used to use. And I remember Gwifsha because Rudolph specifically, he told me that directly years after. And comfrey was one that she used. So that's amazing. And it's what you're saying about having honor for the traditional healers is key. And now I want the question I asked you earlier about the role, for example, in trauma situation and emergencies. The comfrey brings that back to my mind now. But what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, even before going to the question that you posed to me, one of the things that we have been seeing, especially in communities around Dominica, I mean, development is happening. And we are losing a lot of the plants that was in abundance just on the roadside, on the highways, on the byways. And that's one of the things that I've been taking close observation to. Because I could say to you, about 10 years ago, I normally do what you call wild foraging. So I would go to the forest to gather the plants. I'd go to certain key spots that I knew that the herbs are growing in abundance, especially the valley. The valley was one of the places that I got a lot of dandelions. Dandelion was abundance just on the side of the roads. Things like red raspberry was in abundance. Fouez was in abundance. Locally, we know it as fouez. Rubus ideas, scientifically. And I'm observing all these plants.
So are they still plentiful or
They're
they gone?
disappearing.
Oh
All these plants are
wow.
disappearing.
Hmm.
You pass in these areas now, and you might not even see one trace of a dandelion or plant
Wow.
of red raspberry. And it's lamentable, I would say. Frankly, it's lamentable
Very.
that we are getting this wealth of medicines free from the earth, and we have not seen the need to preserve or even set apart some land space that we could cultivate. And we don't have to cultivate, they grow naturally.
True.
We could tend them and take care of them and have this as a spot for medicinal herbs in each community. That would be
That
something I would desire
I would love to see that
to
happen.
see
And
that happen.
we have to push for that.
Because we understand now, because of the prevalence of all these non-communicable diseases and this cancer that is rising as we speak. We know that this plant could play a significant part in our well-being and in preserving our bodies from this condition, which we know herbal medicine works as preventative.
But of
And as
course.
I said, that we are speaking of resilient, my beautiful people, the most resilient medicine that food and medicine you can find on this planet is from the plant kingdom. And we have the herbs that have over and over and over proved to us that it's of significance. We don't have gold or diamonds, but we have herbs that can heal your body. So the idea of our herbs have been deteriorated over the island, that is something that are of significance, and we need to look into it as a community and overall as a nation
But yes,
to
I like
see
you
how we
said that.
can conserve and preserve
I'm happy you mentioned
this
the
rich
idea
heritage
of
that we have. Yeah.
doing it as a nation to come together, with policymakers, educators. And the reason I'm so happy you mentioned that, because someone cutting a tree at the side of the road may not know, hey, this is a neem tree. I remember when I was here on our project, last year or sometime. I remember I was, because whenever I come to Dominica to work on the project with you, something interesting happens. I remember somebody cut a neem tree and you were supposed to pick us up and you left it and went back to pick up the neem tree. But what I'm thinking is that person probably didn't even know it was a neem tree and that it had value. So maybe one of the first steps is for us to start to look at how our agricultural and our resource base, our resource wealth, should be linked with our health and what we can do to it, what we can do for our health system. And the World Health Organization already pushing that across the world. So we'll get to that. I want to talk about that a bit. But I want education is that first step. So we have to find a way to include this in our education. Do our children know the difference between cabbage and lettuce? How do we know what to eat? How would our young ones know what to eat as a healthy food to preserve that whole idea of preserving and preventing if we don't know? So we have to find that education. We have to find a way to bring that education into this whole conversation. And hopefully we can start to link with policymakers on the education front, on the agricultural front, and so forth. Because we have that everything we're talking about here is linked to agriculture. And I want to ask you something, because I did a tour this time on this project that I'm here, this project visit. I went up to the valley that you mentioned, and I went to look at the tram. We went up to the viewpoint, and I went up to the viewpoint. I saw the tram place, and I wonder, and I would really would like to know, when we're doing these development projects, as far as you know, as far as maybe some callers can tell us when they're calling, when we embark on these development projects, are there systems in place for preservation of our plants and our natural resources because development projects have to happen, but we can have things in place. So I would just wonder if there's a link between the Department of Agriculture and Department of Home Development, or the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Development and Works and so forth. Is there a synergy? Are there? I suppose there are, but I would like to know more, because I really wondered about the plants when I went up there, because I drove and it was, what I saw was just amazing. I went up to a place and they were building buildings under the earth. So I really wondered about, it was close to, is it some waterfalls?
Midland Falls.
Midland Falls, yeah. So I really, really wonder about what's happening in terms of preserving the forest and the natural resources. And people like, we have to shout out people like Afi Mate, who've done the work in agriculture and have highlighted over the years the need to, preserve our nature and what we have, because really we have to link agriculture and nature and our natural herbs to our health system. We really, really do.
Yeah,
And if we do that, we will see wealth and health.
yeah. And speaking of this region have a wide biodiversity of medicinal plants. As myself, that's one of the regions that I go to forage for medicinal plants. Things like herbs like cat's claw, herbs like one of the popular herbs we call boabade. Boabade, most men know it to be an aphrodisiac, but it doesn't conclude with its aphrodisiac properties. Boabade is excellent for energy. Boabade is good for your heart. Boabade is good for your blood. Rich with a lot of phytonutrients. It's a good source of antioxidants. And do you know that tons, I can't put a number to it, but tons of boabade trees have been cut and pushed aside like it's garbage. And I'm seeing this thing happening before my eyes, and I'm saying to myself, we're speaking of economic prosperity. But here is it. We're destroying everything that can bring prosperity economically to us. Because I could tell you the demand for boabade in the French islands, it's way above our head. We have not even tapped into this resource. But we are cutting down tons and tons of boabade trees, and what we're doing, we're treating them like garbage.
Again, people may not cutting them may not even know what they are, so we definitely have to do that. But we have to do something different.
Yeah. Well, that is where it comes to the education. Are we taking time off to do actually this research on these plants? Actually, have we studied that this region for its biodiversity to know which are the plants we should preserve and which area we should do whatever development? But Dr. Locke, this can be a very intricate topic, and we may be stepping on some toes. But it's all good to step on some toes. You need to create some drama if you want change. So we need to, reevaluate as a nation, reevaluate the mindset when it comes to plants. Plants, they are living things, they're living entities.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
A lot of times, even consider the plants on the roadside and highways. We would part maybe with a brush cutter and just destroy every plant without identifying certain plants that are of significance. And as I'm on this topic about the plants on the roadside, I recall I had a client from La Plaine, and he was stressed out. He had anxiety. He was depressed. And he came to me, we had a consultation. And he attested to me that, Mr. Deja, over all what I've used, medications, Valium, all tranquilizer, all antidepressants I've used. He told me one of the plants that brought some soothing and helped him with his stress was a plant called St. John's Bush. St. John's Bush, it comes by many different names. We also call it blood roots.
Yes.
Okay, and this plant we have predominantly growing on the highways close to the rivers. Scientifically, it is known as Justica secunda.
Yeah.
Justica secunda.
Yeah, Justica secunda. It's good for women too.
And this plant, well, I'm coming to that. This plant is good for the blood. And we know women, you normally go through this monthly cycle. And they said that this plant also help with female disorders.
Yes. And
female disorders like fibroids, PCOS, endometriosis, which is the erosion of your endometrium lining on your uterus. This plant is good for a lot of women with deficiencies. If you're anemic. So this St. John's Bush, we also consider the St. John's Bush also as a bath. A lot of persons use it as a bath.
To what effect?
Actually, certain herbs are spiritual, and certain people use herbs to bathe as a form of protection, as a form of guide
and soothing.
And definitely, so it is looked at as a spiritual herb. Actually, when you make the tea with the plant, the leaf of the plant, the tea becomes red.
Okay.
And we know in herbology, certain aspects of the plant can be observed, and it can be related to some organs, some bodily functions.
Absolutely.
So the color red indicates the blood.
Yes.
And their plants, the shape of the leaf could indicate certain bodily organs, like the heart and the liver, etc.
Yes.
So this plant is a marvelous plant, and it is just being treated like garbage.
We need to learn about this, man.
Yeah, and the information that we're receiving now, I mean, when it comes to information, we are at a worldwide web of information.
Yes, absolutely. And everything is scientifically proven, and so many things are coming together here because you mentioned
A call is coming.
a call is coming, but let me finish this.
Hello, good night. Renal,
Hello?
Go ahead, caller.
that bush they calling that man better man.
Man better man is the local term also, yes.
For St. John's
It's,
Bush?
when you bathe in it, it's the water turning red and you can drink it too.
That's it.
My red are calling have that by me.
Okay, wonderful. Well, good to know you're on, and good to know that you're the knowledge of the herbs, you're still preserving
I
it.
like to hear your program.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you
most
so
welcome.
much.
Thank you.
Continue.
Okay, bye bye. Have a good night.
Yes. Locally, also call it man better man. Also can be called woman better woman.
Absolutely.
There's
Why
no
not?
discrimination with the plant.
And I happy it's a woman who called because it's so good for women's health. And one of the statistics I wanted to bring up to you today, one of two key statistics was about women's issues. And you mentioned the person having anxiety and stress and all that. So in this last set of research we were doing, PCOS, polycystic, what is it? PCOS,
Polycystic
ovarian syndrome.
ovarian syndrome.
Yes.
Yeah.
So PCOS is now it's so high across the Caribbean. I remember a lot of the research, not just for Dominic, but the Caribbean. And it's associated with a lot of mental health related conditions in the Caribbean, in Dominica, in Jamaica. A lot of the research, they pull surveys from Jamaica, St. Lucia, Trinidad, Guyana, and St. Kitts to Antigua. And a lot of it is linked to anxiety and depression and eating disorders. And of course, excess weight, being overweight, very often is linked to having PCOS, female condition problem, like from even endometriosis and cysts and fibroids and all of that. So, and that is on the rise. The research and the data shows that it's on the rise across the Caribbean, especially because as we've changed our eating habits and as we eat more of the outside foods, that's something that, and so it's just amazing to see the link between PCOS and anxiety and mental health disorders, and then for you to come here and talk about how that bush,
That herb,
that herb that also treats female condition, relatedly treats mental health conditions. So that's just
Definitely.
amazing.
Because we need to understand that whenever we're stressed, we put stress on the glands. It starts from a glandular level. And we know the adrenal gland is normally the gland that secretes hormones to deal with stress. We can say that with such condition, as you have mentioned, diet is key or part and parcel with the condition called PCOS. And women in particular, I stress on women in particular, we eat a lot of foods that are rich or filled with synthetic hormones. And this is one of the main culprits, foods like dairy products. We have mentioned in our last program, chicken, these foods that are grown industrially, and they pump them for growth and for increasing in yields. And when women consume these foods, they tend to have an adverse reaction, on their hormones, and can cause them to be what they call deficient. So it's a deficiency of in estrogen. And some of these herbs that we're speaking of do contain properties that can mimic estrogen in the human body, in the female reproductive system. For example, we have beautiful herbs like red raspberry.
Yes, red raspberry.
Scientifically known as rubus ideas. And red raspberry, it is well known, especially amongst our midwives. Because we know in terms of childbearing, yes, when there was no paracetamol, when there was no analgesic, we know that red raspberry was one of the herbs predominantly used during childbirth. And this helped the uterus, this helped to tone and strengthen the uterus, making childbearing much easier or less complicated for the woman.
And I've seen studies that back this up across the world, across the world, especially with relation to PCOS. Because with that study I mentioned to you earlier, that showed that Black Afro-Caribbean women have higher rates of PCOS than even other parts of the Americas and other parts of North America and so forth. Up to 20% of Afro-Caribbean women have what they call it cysts. We have cysts, ovarian cysts. Even up to 25% in many communities across the Caribbean. Can you imagine 25%, a whole quarter of a village or area have ovarian cysts?
But why is it from the African perspective, the African woman? Why is this plaguing, the African woman?
That's the question.
That's the question. And the question many ask, why?
And what have we changed? What are we doing different?
That's it. That's where we need to go
Who are
to
we
investigate,
following?
to find which are the culprits, or what are the factors that has brought us to this dilemma. And we know it's the change of diet.
Absolutely. And that's that lifestyle change.
The change of diets, the foods that we ingest. Because the food that we ingest, you mentioned stress, Dr. Logan. The foods that we ingest can stress us out.
Tell me about that.
Because we know that the absence of a lot of nutrients, what you call dead foods and non-food items,
yes,
can tend to put a toll on the body and cause the body to be stressed.
Because you're eating and actually you're getting no nutrients. No nutrition. That's, imagine that. Just eat. Your belly feel full, but your body has no energy. Your body has nothing nutritious in it.
To build you from a cellular level. So this is part and parcel with the educational part of our well-being, our dilemmas when it comes to disease. I think education on what can cause such conditions, and at the same time, what can reverse such conditions.
What we can do to prevent them. So we need to start this in grade 2. Exactly. We need to go talk to some education officers, try to see if we can put together a curriculum. Something needs to happen somewhere, because then it gets to a worse level for us, because this thing with cysts, for example, it leads to endometrial cancer. So, we're talking about one little thing, but then it leads to bigger thing. And then we have this rising cancer now, and we have this so everything is linked.
Definitely.
And we definitely need to look at ways to address these things.
And we speak of the World Health Organization. We speak of PAO. We speak of all these organizations that are responsible for guiding us, when it comes to our health and wellness. And I recall some time in, was it 2007 thereabout, one of my international conferences on herbal medicine. So actually, what they call MAPS. MAPS, MAP, mean medicinal and aromatic plants. That was in Trinidad. And that's the first time I was exposed to some information concerning the WHO and how they view traditional knowledge. And to my surprise, WHO endorsed the use of traditional knowledge amongst the third world countries. And they said that because of the scarcity of the raw materials for pharmaceutical drugs, they would encourage small island states, including Dominica, to see that their TK, what we call TK traditional knowledge, is being preserved and is being utilized even in our primary healthcare system. Yes, that was a recommendation made by WHO.
But yes, and I'm looking at the data and the details from the WHO, the World Health Organization. And in fact, this year, they will have a global summit, the second annual global summit on traditional medicine.
So Dr. So our question, is it our leaders that refuse to investigate and to employ herbal medicines as part and parcel of our primary healthcare system? When I've seen this document stating that the WHO encourages the third world islands or developing states to preserve such knowledge. So I wonder if it's we that we are rejecting this wealth of information when it comes to preserving our traditional knowledge. And I don't want to go I don't want to contradict what we are speaking of. But as I'm saying this to you, it is important to highlight and to acknowledge those that have already, served the purpose to do what we're doing to preserve this knowledge. And Dr. Sebi came to mind. Dr. Sebi came to mind.
Absolutely, Dr. Sebi
And
is key.
I would imagine we all know Dr. Sebi. He was a renowned herbal practitioner or renowned healer from Honduras.
Yes.
And Dr. Sebi visited Dominica sometimes in the 80s. And Dr. Sebi did wonderful works by healing persons with the herbs that he actually got in Dominica. And it was said that Dr. Sebi was deported. Why was Dr. Sebi deported? Because Dr. Sebi had a plan. And their names I can mention because I've already spoken to these persons one-on-one. Mr. O.J. Serafin was one of the persons that was closely related with Dr. Sebi. And as I understood that the intention was to build a healing center using medicinal plants. And for some reason, some persons was not in sync with this idea. And Dr. Sebi said it on one of his programs. One of our prime ministers, Regina Chaks, telling me he and his bag of herbs, get out, go. We don't need your.
Is that so?
And in my further investigation, the doctors, the pharmacists, they were scared, they were afraid of what they saw Dr. Sebi was doing. Because there was this particular man, well, reputable man in Dominica, he had a condition called, he had stones in his kidneys. Kidney stones can give you excruciating pain.
Yes,
and this man was in
absolutely.
excruciating pain. And a single plant, as I understood, it was the concoction was made from dandelion root. A simple plant within a few hours would expel the stones from this man's kidneys. And he had to travel out of Dominica for medical attention. And the very herb that Dr. Sebi found right here in our streets, in our gardens, in our cultivated lands, was used, and this man found healing. And that created a problem. And Dr. Sebi was deported. So I really wonder, are we embracing this medium of natural plants on a governmental level?
Well, if we haven't done it, or if we're not there yet, let me go back to the WHO's work, because the World Health Organization, even right now as we speak, and maybe a lot of people know about the Millennium Goals, the Millennium Development Goal, and the Sustainable Development Goal, which all member states of the United Nations have subscribed to. We all have the Millennium Goal, where everybody has to have a toilet and running water. So the World Health Organization, which is a wing of the United Nations, has, just like the Millennium Development Goal, has what's called the WHO Global Traditional Medicine Strategies 2025 to 2034. So from this year to 2034, the World Health Organization is pushing for member states, so all the members of the United Nations, listen to this, this is the actual words, to integrate traditional medicine into national health systems, while they are ensuring safety, efficacy, and quality. So that is a key goal to happen over the next 10 years. The WHO, the United Nations, wants countries, specifically seeds, particularly seeds that would help, and developing countries. But even first world countries are under that umbrella and are pushing for that, to incorporate it in their national health system, which is something you've talked about before. They have a global center for traditional medicine in India. They've set up a bunch of research evidence-based houses and research-based strategies and groups to push to show that herbal medicine has scientific evidence.
Definitely.
So WHO is pushing for the traditional and complementary medicine. So
as you mentioned,
let's see where we go.
As you mentioned, India is well established. We know why you call Ayurvedic medicine. It's rooted from the use of herbs. And even in Ayurvedic medicine, we know of one of the plants that they consider to be a very sacred plant. And do you know that we are thinking totally opposite of this plant?
Which is?
The plant called basilic.
My favorite tea.
Basilic tea. I'm sure you have heard of this narrative. Oh, basilic tea will make you forget. Don't drink basilic tea because it will make you forget.
Well,
I'm sure I've heard this narrative.
It doesn't make me forget, but I've heard people say that. But I don't know why.
This is totally false.
I grew up drinking basilic tea.
This is totally false. Now in Ayurvedic medicine, basilic Basilic represents the brain.
Hmm.
Basilic represents your central nervous system. So basilic helps you to retain information, helps you to remember, helps to strengthen your memory. Basilic is also what you call an adaptogen. An
Which is
adaptogen are herbs that help to boost your immunological system. So some of the narratives that we have looked down upon when it comes to herbs, some of the cultures have preserved these narratives and enlighten us even more how superior the herbal kingdom is. I could mention Chinese medicine. The Chinese have established, a
yes.
traditional Chinese medicine.
Oh yeah, and they stay healthy for it too.
Definitely, we can use the Japanese. So there are many nations that are already preserved and see that this knowledge will be there for
Move for
generations to
them.
come.
Yes, for their generation. So
What,
no, we
what
have
about us?
our generations. That's the question.
That's the question.
So let's take a call, and then I want to ask you a little bit about some of the herbs we have here and what we can do with them.
Definitely.
Good evening.
Hello.
Yes, good
Good
evening.
evening. How are you all? Good program.
Yeah, all is well.
A question I want to ask, with that discussion, have you ever approached government to have any discussion with them on that herbal medicine? I'm just asking, have you ever approached them, to have a discussion on that? Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I can answer this question. Yes, I've approached PS, I've approached ministers. And do you know that even some ministers trust in the use of herbal medicine for their personal endeavor? That's a fact.
Personal
Okay?
use.
Yes, for their personal use. In my endeavor to bring such to the forefront, considering our leaders, I'll tell you, I was advised, Mr. Deja, this will take 1,000,000 years to come to be accepted. So I was advised, do like Dr. Fadipe, open your own hospital, open your own
Your
herbal
own
center,
clinic.
your own clinic. That was the advice given to me by a
Wow.
PS. And I go further by approaching at the time, Mr. Errol Thomas, a chief pharmacist. And I brought to him, my concern and my lamentation on the reason why, herbal medicines are not being employed in our primary healthcare system. And to no avail or to no success. So we have been told that it will be a difficult task to incorporate herbs in our healthcare system, and accept herbs as medicine. So yes, we have tried and we keep on trying. And we that's why persons like yourself, caller, that's why persons like you need to join the cause and join the mission, because the more voices, the louder noise we can make. So we have been fighting for this cause, and we will not stop fight for this cause. So yes, we have approached some of our leaders to consider the information that we're giving you. And I mean, it can be lamentable to me because I am seen every day when persons come with different conditions. I've seen the wonders and the marvelous results by using a lot of the medicinal plants that we have in our community. So I'm looking forward in my lifetime to see herbal medicines can be accepted.
Well, I like that answer, and I like I well, I won't say I like it, but the reason I like that question, I like that question came in at the time that we just talked about WHO. And by the way, the number to call is 449-3095 or 449-3096, or WhatsApp. I believe it's 235-3095. I'm not so sure. I believe so. Yes, 235-3095 on WhatsApp. But it's, now that the World Health Organization, now that there is clearly funding available at some place or the other, at the policy level, at the government level, at the international level, maybe know that there is that sustained action with an actual strategy, a strategy like when there was the Sustainable Development Goal and the Millennium Development Goals. Now that there is a global health goal to incorporate traditional medicine, maybe now there can be steps taken. And I would say that I'm willing to commit to working on that with Dominic. I'm willing to be here to work alongside you. I'm sure you're willing to do it too, but maybe know that there is this committed action by WHO, and know that WHO is pushing for partnerships with member states, and there's the global summit coming up December 2nd to the 4th of 2025 to kind of align stakeholders and partners and best practices. Maybe know that this is all moving. Maybe this is the time that our government and our policymakers maybe know we'll see a way forward with that. So let's wait and
Definitely.
let's see of that. And maybe now that people are seeing and hearing more and more about the opportunities and the success of global, maybe they will also start. Let me say, how would I put? Maybe they'll also start contributing to the effort, because even let me tell you, 3 people messaged me, 4 or 5, no, by number 5. Say, are you guys gonna continue the program? Is it gonna continue with every? It's so good, it's such good, and somebody say, oh, it's very cost effective to get this kind of, and I think it's not cost effective for me because it's not a free program. We paying to do it. This is all part of our summer project, but it's not free. We don't have any funders for this, so maybe now people will start to support, and we have to pay Q95. So maybe they'll start to encourage and feel encouraged about the value. So let's see. So I appreciate that call
And
that question.
and I would like to say to the callers, with all due respect to Dr. Lockhart and a time which is precious, I must say that I have seen the sacrifice that you have made, Dr. Lockhart, and on the public radio, to all the listeners, I would like to applaud you for your sacrifice that you have made to see that Dominica can be educated, and hence the reason that you're here. So many of the callers may not know the sacrifice that you have made and you have been making. Even now, we have made the sacrifice by using our resources to bring this information forward. But how long can we endure? Or can it be sustainable?
So that's it. That's the thing. Can I keep coming back and forth to do the research and to do the right thing? But
so that is why the assistance that we're looking at from a governmental level, to see that persons like yourself, Dr. Lockhart, that have put your best foot forward to serve, it's been recognized and considered. I mean, there are so many things that we have to touch upon, because I love to give remedies. I love to give options when it comes to the using of herbs for hypertension, for diabetes. So if you give me the privilege,
so that's what I want to go to. Yes, absolutely, because I definitely want. For example, like I was telling someone about the idea of drinking green drink, and I so want you to talk about those things. So let's take this call and then let's go into some remedies and some of what Dominicans should know and do. Good evening, caller.
Hello, my final call. I called a while ago. Just like a follow-up suggestion. Now they're looking at, it's just a suggestion. Now they're looking at marijuana for medicinal purposes. Probably you, I'm just talking, you probably, and the other herbalists, like Olivachi, and the other herbalists, if you all could come together, you understand? Instead of one person, come together and probably take it again, to take it across. You have another discussion again. Now they're looking, as I said, they're looking at some marijuana now, for medicinal. So all that could rope in. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
And I must say, most times we isolate ourselves. You mentioned Bobby Olivache, which is one of the elders. Good night, Brother Bobby. And you mentioned other practitioners, but this is a community driving force. We need the community, every individual in Dominica. If we have 70,000 people, we need 70,000 people about, because this belongs to us. This is this is who we are. This is our heritage. This is our culture. So the idea of a few people cluster to form a group and to see that this knowledge is being preserved, I think it needs a bigger picture, a larger body of persons. The nation should be involved in such dialogue and discussion.
So maybe we need to start community groups and all that. But definitely, to tell the caller too, but it's definitely something we take on that advantage and are going to be moving forward trying to do. We'll keep it on that. We'll keep that in mind to try to do it for sure. But I want to know some of your remedies, especially today might be our last show as far as we see for now.
Well, never know. We
never know.
We could have some charitable listener that could be needed to contribute to our efforts.
But I would definitely want what are some of the key remedies you have you would advise, especially in terms of prevention and staying healthy from the start?
Yes. So in our previous programs, we highlighted the use of lemons. We have highlighted the use of our green papaya. And we are going to highlight a combination of herbs that is good for inflammation, because we know inflammation is a general statement and most conditions are what they call inflammatory conditions. So we're going to give you a remedy that works. What we have been working with, not what we read about or what somebody told us about, but what we have been working with to see results. And the first plant, parsley. Parsley is one of the amazing plants we have when it comes to reducing the amount of sodium levels in your blood. Parsley is an excellent what we call diuretic, because we know there are categories of drugs called diuretics. Diuretics are drugs that remove excess water from your body.
Right.
So parsley, what it does, it inhabits. Parsley inhabits the tissue, helping to in the reabsorption of sodium.
Okay.
So parsley is one of the amazing plants that we have been working with and we have seen. Parsley in combination with celery. Celery is also an excellent diuretic. And celery also contains insulin-like properties when it comes to diabetics.
Yes.
Okay,
Celery.
so you have parsley, you have celery, you have another excellent plant called ginger. And ginger, we all know ginger is an excellent stimulant in that combination. Ginger helps to strengthen your heart. Ginger helps with digestion, with your stomach.
Yes.
And with that combination, last but not least, we have what we call Christophins. And we know Christophins is an excellent antioxidant. And we have mentioned in past programs that potassium is one of the key nutrients needed for regulating your blood pressure levels.
Yes.
So it's a good source of potassium. We also have vitamin B6. We also have vitamin E. Christophins is excellent for heart health. Okay?
Yes, Christophins are powerful.
So we have a combination of parsley, and if you have a pen and paper, I would encourage you to take this down. Parsley, celery, Christophins, and we have ginger. Now, this combination, we use 3 stalks of celery.
3 stalks of celery.
6 stalks of parsley.
6 stalks of parsley.
You could use 3 fingers of ginger.
3 fingers of ginger.
Okay, and use 1 Christophin with the skin.
1 Christophin with the skin.
I would also add to this combination spinach. You could use at least 9 to 12 leaves of spinach added to this combination.
9 leaves of spinach.
So this combination, you're going to blend this combination into a liter of spring water.
With 1 liter of water.
You blend this combination. Thereafter, you strain.
Strain.
And this is going to give you what they call a green drink or chlorophyll drink.
That's that green chlorophyll drink that I've been hearing about.
We recommend that you drink half a glass at least 3 times per day.
If you have half a liter, if you have a whole liter, you can do that. Yes.
So would recommend half a glass before breakfast, half a glass before lunch, half a glass before dinner.
Okay. So that's 3 stalks of celery, 6 stalks of parsley, 3 fingers of ginger, 1 Christophin with the skin, and 9 leaves of 9 to 12 leaves of spinach with 1 liter of water.
Excellent.
That's the green drink. That's a power green drink.
Power green drink. So we mentioned inflammation. Also, persons with thrombosis.
Yes.
We're looking at blood clots, stagnation of your blood. And I would mention this to you, the green drink used for such condition, but I know, and that is why we have highlighted, do not take herbal medicines if you are on prescription drugs. Because if you're on prescription drugs, certain drinks that contain chlorophyll, especially if you're on blood thinners, for example, warfarin, be very careful in consuming warfarin along with the green drink that we have recommended. Because we know the green drink is a natural blood thinner. We also know that the warfarin or aspirin is also a natural blood thinner. So you don't want to create a contradiction by consuming 2 agents. One is synthetic that can thin out your blood, and one is natural that can thin out your blood.
Right.
So please take this into consideration. If you're using herbs, please avoid drug medication. If you're using drug medication, avoid herbal remedies.
And that's true. So if we find people, I really want people to call to tell us their experience doing the green papaya and the and the lemons, But I want people to continue with the green papaya, continue with the lemons, continue with the water, and add the green drink in. Add the green drink in. What's the other key remedy you can give before we leave?
I mean,
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Oh,
Time against us.
Yes.
Well, I mean, many herbs. One of the herbs that I know that a lot of farmers, they are not knowledgeable about is a plant called broomweed, scientifically known as cedar acuta. Cedar acuta is an excellent plant for your kidneys. We know that dialysis is one of the conditions that is predominant right now amongst our elderly people, even our young people. And we know that these herbs would grow on your banana fields.
Yes.
It would grow in your garden with vegetables.
The broomweed, yes.
The broomweed. Do you know what we do? We would spray. Yes, we would
Ballet savan.
Ballet savan. We call it locally ballet savan because we used to use the broomweed to sweep ovens. So one of the key uses for the ballet savan is rejuvenating the kidneys.
Okay. So we have a lot that we can use right here in our community. Ballet savan, blue verveine, we talked about before, Christophine's pawpaw, green pawpaw, lemons,
stinging nettle.
Yes.
We have
stinging nettle, zuti.
We have clove. And even clove is one of the herbs that we have undermined. Clove is amazing when it comes to antibiotic properties, antiseptic properties, antibacterial properties. And you ever call on the line?
Yeah, we'll take this last one. Go ahead, caller. Good evening.
Hey, good evening, doctor.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Good evening.
Yes, I'm Mr. Deja. Good evening to you.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, just trying to put a little bit of enlightenment on the whole natural medicine because you can never done learn. Look at how smart you are or a scientist is. I just wish your message could hit the people a little bit more because I listened in the House of Assembly today and the kind of cost for importing food is like $200 and something million in food, chicken, medicine. I think around 100 and something for medicine, and you get a lot of donations from other parts of the world. But you stress on something there. You see clots. People suffer from a lot of clots, and they don't really pay attention to it because you're standing up for long hours.
Yes.
Farmers, contractors, nurse teachers, and it can be very dangerous as light as we thinking. So I just heard you touch on about the blood clots, what you can use for it. And one of the things that men especially could use is you could get the melon and cucumbers and a little bit of lime and the same parsley you talk about there. Because they always like to go to the pharmacy for the bedroom makeup. And long ago, what the elderly women would do, like when a woman make a child, they would get the wild dashing bush and they would warm it with castor oil.
Not to cut you short. We are our time.
But that's good advice, definitely. And we definitely look.
Yeah, but Miss Doctor, one of the things I can tell you, I have a telephone number which is 265-9673 because I do things like the comfrey cream, cayenne cream for cramps, circulation, blood clot. I live in Goodwill, close to the pharmacy, Bonsai Pharmacy. I don't want to take up much. My name is Ronnie. I also do manufacturing local stuff. So anybody who call you for those things, you can give them my number. I live on the main road on the left side. And there is a courtesy sign right where I'm living. And thank you for your education.
Yes, welcome, Ronnie. Keep on doing the work that you're doing because it is greatly needed. So sad but true, our time have expired. I have a few other herbs that I came with the intention to enlighten you with, but sad but true, our time have been expired. But if you give me the opportunity to mention one of the key herbs that even Dr. Sebi highlighted was stinging nettle.
Zuti, go ahead.
Dioka.
Yeah.
This herb is an amazing herb when it comes to its iron content. So with women, I encourage you to utilize this herb, incorporate it in your lifestyle, incorporate it in your dietary habits, and even part of your diet regime. Have a teacup at least 2 to 3 times a day.
Okay, Zuti.
Zuti,
make a tea
commonly
with
known
it,
as Zuti, yes.
with the green leaves.
As a tea, yes. So if you're looking at what you call it, the dose, the amount, 3 to 5 leaves can be used to 8 ounces of water. You boil for 5 minutes, yes. You boil your herbs for 5 minutes and let it infuse for 1 hour. Boiling your herbs does not destroy the nutrients in the herb. I repeat, boiling your herbs does not destroy the nutrients in the plant because the plant nutrient, it is fixed. You can alter the cosmetics of the plant, but the essence remains.
Remains. Okay, wonderful. So we definitely have some food for thought, and we will hopefully see this move to a bigger level. And what I want to see move better is incorporating this natural health and healing into our general life here in Dominica and everywhere else. So thank you for listening, and I hope you've seen value in the program. It's been wonderful to be here with you. Look forward to continuing to contribute. Thank you so much, Mr. Deja.
You're welcome, Dr. Lockhart. And I would encourage persons to, most of all, use the information that we have dispensed to you. Because only when you use the information, you will see the results. So once again, thank you for being here with us on Q95, the Health and Healing Hour. My name is Deja. Once again, have a pleasant evening, everyone.
Yes, and I'm Dr. Lockhart. Thank you so much. And thank you so much to Miss Antoine, who has been the person in the studio here helping us to take the calls and deal with the panel. Thank you so much.
Good night.
Good night.
Today, get more bang for your buck. Talk shows, news, sports, music shows, entertainment events, weekend shows, Newsweek reviews, early morning shows, evening and daytime